Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankara Sharya Madhyamam Asmada Sharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guratmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tomagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatosh Maham Om. Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. So let's just remember here, verse 14, constantly praising me, striving with a firm resolve and surrendering with devotion. These ever steadfast ones worship me. So he's talking about the nature of the bhakta, the devotees, which have come to see Bhagwan as nothing but one's true nature, not something apart or separate or out there. And people, they have that firm resolve, and they keep surrendering with devotion, and so on. So we have looked into this verse 14, following the commentaries of Swami Paramarthananda. Okay, here there is some bus. Was it my mic? No, Sylvia. So we have seen that somehow he mentioned here association as well. People associate with Sat in Satsanga. That helps, as we know. We talk about this ultimate goal. We select our friends. We avoid samsaris. Not that samsaris necessarily bad people, but they represent distraction after all, Oh, let's go here. Oh, let's go there. Let's do that. I have a hard time to put up with them because mostly I'm not interested in what they talk about and what they want to do. So I keep it for myself. But if there are people who want to talk about the nature of the Lord, I say, "Opa, that's my cup of tea." You want to talk about the nature of reality. You want to talk about spirituality. You want to talk about the Lord. Swami here reminds us that there is a lot of prep work to be done to come to that kind of resolve, that kind of value for this Vedantic process. So you need to acquire this sadhana chatustaya, sampati. And then Atmayana becomes easy, as we have seen. Jnana is very easy, provided we are qualified. If we're not qualified, so the development of qualification is very easy as well if one becomes a dedicated karma yogi, and upasaka as well. So what is the difficult part of Vedanta is developing the qualifications. And for that, when should we start? We should start yesterday. If not yesterday, today. We want to do the work to prepare the mind for self-knowledge. So Karma Yoga is preparing the mind, Upasana Yoga is preparing the mind, observing Dharma is preparing the mind. Everything you do is related to preparation of the mind. and that requires quite some effort, appropriate effort. Not only that requires devotion. Mere effort is not sufficient. We are too small in the creation, and there are so many hidden factors, unknown factors, genetic factors, cosmic factors, political factors, climate factors, endless factors that could represent obstacles. So there will be so many pratibandhas in order for good work. What is pratibandhas, Lynn? I forgot.
Obstacles.
Obstacles. Very nice pronunciation. Okay. And therefore, mere prayatna. So if you just put your effort without the proper attitude of surrendering, understanding and surrendering to Ishvara as the totality of all factors. So we're going to require this surrendering so that we can get Ishvara grace, blessings, anugraha. These mumukshus know very well, and therefore they constantly surrender to the Lord. Anugraha is blessings or how you say? Grace.
Grace.
Grace, yeah. And again, we know that grace is something that's not given for free. It requires observance of Dharma and the attitude of accepting what comes as prasad. So with a nice attitude, not complaining about God, and then the mind relaxes, and then we get the grace of the Lord. The grace of the Lord is a pacified, purified, refined mind. So we have to remember for Kama Yoga, our goal is not the results of our actions, it is mental purification, mental refinement. We do what we do, observing Dharma, remembering the Lord, offering to the Lord, receiving as prasada, but all of that is secondarily, I think of having a new car or a new job. The primary goal is mental purification. So this is the ultimate grace, blessings. For that, which is a mental state, for that we need to understand this relationship with the Lord and surrender to the Lord. I mean, it's the most logical thing to do when you have no control over the Dharma field. You have no control of Purabhada. You surrender to the Lord. You keep doing actions to support and observing Dharma, support the Dharma, and so on. You live by example and so on. We've seen your possibilities, no? But you know that we have no control over the destiny of our life, our town, our country, our civilization. So if you remember, I had told you in my introduction to the seventh chapter, one thing that is the first 6 chapters of the Gita. The individual effort is highlighted. We have to remember the first 6 chapters, they are dedicated to the Jiva. The second 6 chapter, the central part is dedicated to Bhagavan, the Lord, the nature of God. And in the first 6 chapters, it says the Jiva's effort is very important, is highlighted. The next 6 chapters is about Ishvara's grace, because we are talking about the nature of Ishvara, as I like to put this system, the ones that presents the field, presents the Parabhada, and then we give our response. We need to give it with a certain attitude and with a certain understanding, so that our actions, they are going to benefit the Dharma, receiving receiving the input, the input from the field, the parameters, with an attitude, understanding attitude that it's okay. It's just what it is. It's parameter, And this is the results. Those are the results from all my actions combined with the actions of billions of other beings here in this planet. But we have a degree of responsibility that is highlighted in the between the 7th chapter and the 12th chapter. So from the 7th to 12th, we talk about Ishvara's kripa, or what is kripa? Is again grace or blessings or what? Or need?
Favor.
Huh?
Favor, perhaps?
No. Yeah, the same concept. Therefore, prayatana is important. Anugraha is important. So my individual effort is absolutely important. So they go hand in hand. If they go hand in hand, we can succeed. We cannot control Ishvara, no, but we can control our mental state by understanding this relationship with the Lord. And then we are controlling our mental state. And at that level, we are not really concerned with gaining some practical worldly results. What I'm concerned is my mental refinement, mental purification. The mind is being purified to the degree that I understand this relationship with the Lord. That is the grace, that is the palam, no? And that is success according to the Vedanti. Dhyana's Laka is recite. Both of them are beautifully highlighting this verse. First line, yatayataha. Second line, mamasyantaha, indicates the role of free will and indicates the role of Ishvara's grace as well. Both factors are there. And the interesting thing is that grace does not fall by accident. Again, repeating myself, the ultimate grace is to have a pacified, sattvic, clear, contemplative mind. And the effort of the jiva is immense. It requires immense effort from the side of the jiva to develop such a state. And then life becomes easy. And then we say, oh, Ishvara is grace in me. Ishvara is the system, as I like to put. And Jiva needs to understand this system. Free will is important. Which is more important, free will is or grace? Equally important. You don't want to become a fatalistic person. And if you discard your efforts, you are an arrogant person. Arrogance, free will. If you say it is fatalism, we should neither be fatalistic nor arrogant. So arrogant is the person who says, "No, I don't believe in God's grace. I'm a go-getter. When I want something, I go and get it. Not taking consideration, numberless factors, which is seen from this angle of understanding as Daivan. Daivan is God. Another name for God is the totality of all factors. But if I say, no, everything is in the hands of God, I don't do anything, and then I am somebody who believes in destiny and I have no say. You need to have a balanced approach, a balanced understanding. And the understanding goes, the responsibility of the jiva in this manner go to such an extent that the responsibility we take or the exercise of our free will, our personal effort to live in conformity with Dharma and so on, is so important because grace is not possible without our effort. Have you ever seen somebody being graced with spiritual development or spiritual jñanayajña, spiritual knowledge, by violate Dharma right and left, taking drugs, and it's impossible, you know. And then why we say that we have to take in consideration Ishwara's grace, even though the grace depends on the jiva fundamentally, right? It's because otherwise the ego believes that no, it's all in my hands, and then it becomes arrogant, and forget God, forgets Bhagwan, Ishwaras, as the karma palandata. But he's going to give our parabada, give the results of our attitudes and words and deeds in accordance to our performance, in accordance to, because the way we act in this world is already a demonstration of our mental state. If we offer our response to the Dhamma field with a disturbed mind, a really disturbed mind, afflicted mind, conflicted mind, problematic mind. So that's not a good offering because it does not add much value to the Dharma, to the field. So we need to be able to, by understanding this relationship, to begin offering something back to the field. And by doing that, I develop a peaceful mind as the karta, the one who presents its action, presents its real, and as a bhakta, the one that receives prasad. It's all about a mental state which is developed by understanding the nature of God, Saguna God, and the relationship. Never forget that most of the responsibility lies on the jiva. But in the good sense, we have to say the jiva is impotent because Ishwara is the karma paladat. But the result, at the end, I want a car, I want this. Okay, so there are many factors involved, but if you say, no, I want spirit development, and then the responsibility is almost all on the side of the jiva, you understand? And even if I just want worldly things, and the moment that I bring God into the equation, that somehow helps me to maintain a better state of mind because I feel more secure, more protected, more supported. And then you say, so I'm doing this, God, and so on. It's worldly saying, but I remember you, and my actions are being dharmic actions and so on. So that helps the mind to develop more efficiency in one's action. Efficiency is not something like doing something perfect because I have repeated that for so long. Now I'm efficient. No, efficiency is the ability to be wise, and offer good response to life's moment to moment inputs, Nitya yukataha means whatever discipline, ever steadfast commitment is indicated without commitment, very little is possible. And then so for any gain, for any success, even in the sport level, with these competitions that they call, how do they call? They do every year, every 4 years somewhere, Olympics, and the whole thing is a bit pathetic. But anyhow, Human jivas are pathetic by nature, so they spend years and years. Their life just trying to jump a little bit, farther and get the highest mark on a jump. And people dedicate their entire life. And there are a lot of also pathetic people say, yeah, 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 yeah. Same thing with soccer. Yeah. So people, they do those things. And even for those pathetic things, it needs incredible, incredible, incredible commitment and effort to be a good tennis player, soccer player, be successful in life as a business person, as a householder. So dedication, persistence, and system of preparation. Pa, 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 pa. So if you need to put up so much effort, but intelligent effort, prepping, here it says you have to watch your nutrition, your body, your mental state to go for a competition and so on. And people say, no, but with the spiritual world, I don't need to do anything, I don't need to prepare. I don't need to be dedicated. I just want to hear, to listen to somebody telling me something and be my guide, or to listen to someone who says that I am already free, or to listen to somebody who says that after all, I don't exist, and people, they don't want to put up the effort. It requires immense, immense, immense commitment, dedication, and effort. Spiritual elevation is something that requires a lot. And here the verse 15 is worshipping through jnana-yajna, some others worshipping through jnana-yajna. Some others think of me. They worship me many ways. Sometimes as different from themselves, sometimes as of the same nature as themselves, or they worship me as the multifarious one, Vishvarupa. So let's see what Swam says. So the first thing is to become a religious person and to understand that I need to keep God, the understanding of the nature of God, as my main goal in life. My ultimate goal is to understand the nature of reality. I heard that God is the only reality. God is not an avatar, a Krishna or Rama or anything. So I want to understand the true nature of God, or even the nature of God as pure sattva guna. So, and I go, once I become a religious person, this understanding is shaping itself up, gradually evolves. Yeah. My initial appreciation of God is of one type, then my understanding transforms at each stage. And we can say there are three levels of understanding of the nature of God. In the beginning stage, God is present as the creator. Ninitta Karanam, the intelligent cause. Just as the carpenter, in order to create a wooden table, needs to have the know-how, the ability, the knowledge to do so. Similarly, God creates the world. Therefore, here the idea is that God is like a carpenter, like any creator who has the knowledge, necessary knowledge for creation. So that Lord must be Sarvayana. Sarvayana. Therefore, you represent the intelligent cause, maybe, okay? And therefore, you represent the Lord with many hats. It has to be omniscient, omnipotent, because He's not creating only tables. He's not creating only, fabric or metal utensils, or He's created the entire universe. And then He must have so much knowledge that they represent them as someone with several heads. Four heads of Brahmaji, which represent the four Vedas. And that gives us an idea that the Lord is omniscient. But this is a personalized God, is to see God as identical to a human being. So it has a form, like Vishnu line in Parkatal. I don't know what Parkatal is. It's the skin of something, of an animal.
I think it was in an earlier verse, Ocean of Milk.
Ocean of milk. Good memory, huh? What did you do to keep such a good memory?
Every day it slips away.
So if you are Shiva Bhakta, you have this picture of God as Shiva. If you are Krishna Bhakta, you have a different picture. This is one stage, and then one progress a little bit. The next higher level of understand. Uh, God, if God is taken as a person, something that Lord is limited by space, and by form, and by attribute. He's there means he's not here. So because he's limited by the body, by the attributes of that deity. Therefore, once the intellect was further developed, we appreciate God on the second level, next level, because God's created the world. We say God does not create, God appears as the world, becomes the world. Yeah? So that is the Vishvarupa vision, yeah, of the Lord as the totality of all names, colors, and forms. So it means to say it's really omniscient, it's really omnipotent, no? And it's limitless, meaning it's not limited by time and space, because it covers the entire projection of the cosmos. So Lord became everything according to this concept. It appears as the universe, so the God, Lord himself appearing as the cosmos. In fact, the cosmos with multifarious forms, as it said in this verse, is the body of the Lord, is the form of the Lord. We call it Vishvarupa Ishvara. Vishnu Sahasranama, you can see that in the next sloka. In Vishnu, and another text here, we can see it's going to give us another picture of Vishvarupa Ishvara. In the beginning, we said here, he's there. Now, what we are saying is that he's not there, he's everywhere. If you want to really see it in terms of a super jiva, you say the feet, the earth is the feet of the Lord, the sky is the body, the heaven is the head. So they're just some metaphors to say that this is the body of the Lord, the entire cosmos. But where is this God? What should be one's answer? Where is this God? Where is this God? So, and then the good answer, where is this God not? You know? Everything is God's form. We are going to see in the 11th chapter of Gita In the 7th chapter also we have seen it. Krishna presents a list. So this is the second stage, as we know, to see God not limited by name, form, and attributes. It is presented as the totality of all names, colors, forms, and attributes of the universe, about the gunas of Maya. So if we keep this appreciation for some time of Vishvarupa nature of the Lord, and then we get qualified for still a higher stage. In this, you can get further doubts. If you say God is everything, then Kovan is also God. So bad actions is also God. Criminal actions is also God. Corrupted actions is also God. Disease and suffering is also God. All negative attributes is also God. You may have this doubt. So if God is everything and then God is evil as well, because there is so much evil in this world. Yeah? On the other hand, if we say that God has only positive attributes, what's the problem? It's going to limit God. God cannot have negative attributes. Otherwise, where is the limitlessness of God? We should include negative attributes as well. And if we include the negative attribute, you have an intellectual problem. Now, can God have negative attributes? The problem is only when you think about those things. Generally, we do not think, therefore, it's okay. We just listen and go. If you happen to think, the scriptures have an answer for you. You can have a general answer. If you ask such a question, Vedanta expects that question and answers by saying, Lord does not become the creation. Lord apparently becomes the creation. It appears as the creation, but it's one kind of manifestation in which the milk did not turn to cheese, losing its property as the milk. In this case, the Lord appears as the creation, keeping its true nature as pure sattva guna, or furthermore, its true nature as nirguna, antima nirguna brahman. Yeah? So all this appearance, it appears as superimposition upon the Lord. The real Lord is free from all these pairs of opposites, being good and evil, very important to us, punya papa. So, and then how we explain that all these negative attributes, where they come from? It's the price we pay for having a human intellect with the possibility to think, to connect the dots, make choice, and then get the results of our choice. So we often develop negative actions and attitudes that produce negative results. So, and all of that because we did not get to understand the true nature of God. So who is responsible for all these negative attributes that we find in the world? Since Ishvara is the totality of the manifest, so Ishvara must be responsible for these negative attributes such as violence, injustice, cruelty, of all kinds of levels, So who is responsible for all these negative things? It's avidya, we can call Maya sometime, but fundamentally, since Jiva has a free will, intelligent intellect, it needs to figure it out by taking responsibility. So I have developed negative notions, negative attributes, offering negative actions, therefore I'm suffering. Connecting the dots between my attitudes, words, and deeds with what I'm getting as a result, So Jiva Atma, due to this ignorance, excess of Rajaguna and Tamoguna, that conceals the understanding of the nature of God, now projects all these negative attributes which are fundamentally inherent to the jiva, inherent to the free will that has a huge price tag attached to it. Vedanta expects all these questions. Lord does not become the creation. It appears as this creation. Therefore, all these appearances of the Lord, the real Lord, is free from all these appearances, such as the space is free from all cruelty, which requires space in order to take place. No? The Lord is the light that illumines and reveals all jiva's actions and reactions without interfering with human free will. If the jiva wants to put bad, negative, cruel actions, so it's free to do that because it has the freedom to violate the Dharma to the extent of destroying its very soul. Therefore, the Lord has no form. If you start with Ekarupa, God limited by a name, form, and attribute, you must advance to Aneka Rupa, so which is Lord, we not concealed, not limited by a name and a form and attribute, and then which is Aneka, and then Arupa Ishvara, as the totality. Now, Arupa Ishvara is free from any attribute. These are the three levels. Ekarupa, one form to many forms to no form, no attributes, no name. Krishna says everyone has to go through these three levels of understanding within this relationship with the Lord. You may not now like Arupa, Ishvara. You prefer to keep your Ekarupa, Ishvara, because it's familiar to you. So keep your Nekarupa, Ishvara. No, that also is not acceptable. Have Ekarupa, Ishvara. So if you don't accept the vision of Ishvara as the totality of all name, colors, and forms, you are not going to understand the nature of Ishvara as free from all names, colors, and forms. It means to say that you need to stay where you are. So just stay with your Ekarupa, Ishvara, and grow from there. Therefore, here Krishna says, some people seek to worship me in all kinds of different ways. Some of them, my most favorite, my most intimate devotees, like to worship me as the non-dual Brahman. Some like to see me as the totality. Some like to see me as a deity. So good. So Arupa Ishvara, some people seek through what method? Jnana-yajña, by taking to Jnana Yoga, Vedanta Vichara, advanced seekers. Only then you understand God free from any attributes, therefore free from name, colors, attributes, and forms. You understand God as the true nature, intrinsic nature of everything, including one's own jiva nature. Through Vedanta Vichara, such devotees seek my true nature as Arupa Ishvara. There are some people who feel they are not yet ready for that. Therefore, what do? They worship Aneka Sharupa. And then they move later on, whenever they are ready, to Lord without any form. Okay. What is this here? Let's see what's this all about here. In Mahanyasya, you might have heard the Lord with faces everywhere. It means what? Every face is the face of the Lord. Some people worshiping in this form, some in other form, but there are some others who feel that also as that difficult, a Lord with all forms. Therefore, they want an isolated God. I'm going to pause for a moment. Remind me to unpause, okay? Okay, so it may be difficult some people to understand a multi-face God all over the place. And then he tells this story, distinct form. They say these Hari Rama, Hari Krishna people, they also obsessed with the form of Krishna. They do not approve, even Rama. Rama and Krishna are only two avatars or manifestations of Bhagwan, Vishnu. They will approve Krishna, and here they have even modified the mantra. And they say Hari Rama, Hari Rama, Hari Rama, rather than Hari Rama, Hari Krishna. So what is that? They are telling Swami Shimayananda, he used to give Gita, jnana thoughts. He propagated. He was a big teacher of Bhagavad Gita. And he started an ashram in Mumbai. In the ashram, the main deity was Shiva. Now, these Hare Krishna people were criticizing. He has got all the money by talk about Krishna. Krishna's name he has earned, and in the end, he built Shiva temple. Krishna will punish him. People are so fixated with some particular form. It's okay, it's understandable, but sooner or later you have to get over this fanaticism. Okay. So we go to the next file. Krishna gave a beautiful description of Vishwarupa, the nature of Ishvara. Well, the ultimate understand is the higher nature of God as identical with one's own Atman. It's Satchitananda, is Nirguna, Brahman. Through these chapters, we should remember when we use the word God as the goal of life, we are using the word God in the meaning of the higher nature of God. Okay. This is the general rule here at this stage we are. Whenever God is present here as the goal of life, we mean because what is the ultimate goal of life? It's freedom from samsara. And that's only possible when we understand the nirguna nature of God. And then we understand the declarations of identity between Jivatma and Paramatma. That is said to be the meaning, the true goal we should have in life. No? When we talk about God in the context of a worship, then it's different. We are talking about what? Saguna Ishvara. And then we're going to project several heads, hands, legs, and many other things. We're gonna shower those idols or symbols. We're gonna give food to those deities. This is all the lower Saguna nature of God, as we know. So the word God is loosely used in our scriptures. Even in the Bhagavatam, we find it. Even in Bhagavatam, we find this. We have to see the context to understand which God the scripture, Krishna, is referring to. A finite form of God can never be the ultimate goal of a seeker. The Upanishad comes to make it clear you can be attached to a finite form of God, finite form of devotion, of worship, but you can never take the finite form as one's final destination. Ken Upanishad repeatedly says, so the worship formed finite God should be used as an intermediary step. The destination, the final destination of the seeker is the formless God alone. And the description of this final destination is this formless God was given in the verse 4. Meaning to say it's not accessible by the sense organs and the mind. Colorless, smellless, tasteless, touchless is avyakatam. Therefore, the destination God is avyakatam. What is avyakatam, Lynn? I keep forgetting these things. Not available through the sense organs, yeah. Vyakatam or avyakatam, not accessible. I think that's what it is. Are you guys with me?
Yeah, I am now. I lost you for a minute because we got a lightning storm going on here and my internet went down for a minute, but it's come back now. But I missed a big section.
Lynn, are you with us? Okay, having described that God in the verse 4th to 10th as this Nirguna God, the ultimate goal of human life, in the 11th verse, Krishna said, the ignorance of that God, which is the true purpose of life, the ignorance of that God is the real cause of human suffering. So it's so simple. It's so difficult for people to understand. Because when that God means the higher nature of God, the final destination is known, I will keep everything else as my destination. When the real worthwhile purpose, when the real purpose of life is not understood, and if it's not known to me, even if I heard about that, so you are only going to be satisfied and pacified and so on, happy, if you understand the nature of God. Even if one is introduced to that, yet it's so easy that people just, okay, I got that, I'm working on that, but right now I have many other goals, I have many other destinations. Okay, so I'm just betting on those areas. I'm investing in the world and I'm investing in God, but a little bit investment in God does not solve the problem. We need to bet everything into that. When the real worthwhile purpose destinations is not known, unknown, but not valued, I'm going to take many other things as the purpose of my life. Unfortunately, all other things cannot be satisfying as a purpose that fulfills the individual. They will not provide a mind which is pacified, a shanti mind. Will never give a sense of peace and security. Therefore, there is a thrill and kick like you buying AC. If it is a video, how many videotapes are there in your house? When you bought, you were thrilled, watched those movies or whatever. So it means to say that when you gain something in India 20, 25 years ago, it was a huge accomplishment maybe to be able to buy an AC. And then one feels really happy for a moment, like having a collection those days of videos, no? And then you get tired of everything. So there is nothing you gain in these worldly desired objects that's going to give a sense of satisfaction. Satisfaction is a state of mind that is only possible by understanding the true nature of reality, which means to say the true nature of God. Therefore, the person is going to feel bored, annoyed, is going to struggle in life, is going to suffer the sickness of samsara. They are going to keep projecting new goals, new people in their lives to guide them into new goals. The struggle and the suffering will continue. Therefore, if you don't properly diagnose the problem of this samsara suffering, if you don't understand the real diagnosis, you are never going to be able to know the real remedy. The remedy is to know the real nature of God. Ignorance in respect to the nature of God is the problem. Not knowing the nature of God is the problem, because the God is but consciousness, and consciousness is but God. The only solution is to know consciousness is the only reality, and holding that knowledge firmly and clearly at all times. We call Atmayana, Brahmayana, Ishwarayana, many names, self-knowledge in English. Having mentioned this in the 11th chapter, 11th verse, Krishna categorized the two types of people, dividing humanity in two types. The majority of people are the ignorant ones, and therefore they do not know what is the purpose of their very life. Isn't it amazing, Mark? How sad, huh? People are born, they live through life, they suffer a great deal through life, and they die without knowing they have wasted another opportunity, because the purpose of life is spiritual wisdom. The wisdom in respect to the reality as the spirit, consciousness. The majority of people are ignorant, therefore they do not know the purpose. They don't know why they are here. They don't know that the real destination is to know God as your true nature. Your nature which is Purnatva, which is peaceful, ever secured. They do not know that that is possible. All they know is about objects of desires that once accomplished gives them a brief, fleeting moment of de facto peace and sense of de facto security. Therefore, life is, they say, the philosophy, they define philosophy, they jokingly say, it's like a blind man, this is very nice, it's a blind man looking for a black cat in a dark room in which the cat is not there. That's life. And people find happiness, looking for happiness in the world in which happiness is not available, and then they look in other people, and the people themselves, they associate with, they are looking for happiness and love as well. Nobody can deliver it because love and happiness is one's true nature. So this is philosophy. These ignorant people, they will be groping in life, not knowing what exactly they are here for. If somebody interviews them and asks, what do you want? What do you, and ask, what do you want? Well, they will say, that is what is not known. What do you want? Most probably. They will say, that is what is not known. They are confused, constantly switching from one thing to another, not knowing exactly what they want to do with their lives. So what is the real satisfying goal, ultimate goal in life? What are the intermediary goals? They don't have this understanding. They don't have a direction. They don't have not even a rudderless goal. It is swallowing. It's swallowing. What is swallowing?
Wallowing is not going in any direction. It's like floating from one place to another, but not actually going in a direction.
A rudderless, the same concept.
Well, a rudder is what steers the ship. So when a ship doesn't have a rudder, it's the bit which gets beneath the water, which goes
Understood.
like this.
Very
Okay,
nice.
so when it hasn't got it.
Krishna strongly criticized these people, utterly confused and lost. He does not criticize. He just says that unfortunately there is so much evil, and that is due to ignorance and suffering. Ignorance is hand in hand with suffering. And out of this suffering, this ignorance, the evil, grows. And if they in any other culture, it's understand because they do not have guidance. In other cultures, like Western culture, it's okay. But he says here in India, the spiritual capital of the world, the Vedic culture, there is guidance available everywhere. There are even gurus, acharyas, still alive and kicking. In spite of this availability, there are some people who manage to struggle and grope in darkness, never reaching out for help, proper help. Krishna pitied, this is the same, criticized, Krishna pitied them. And he said that there are some few understanding people, but there are some few understanding people, very few, rare ones. Same idea. He repeats it here, the same idea of the 7th chapter. I have told you before. The 9th chapter and the 7th chapter are parallel, similar chapters. And here he says, some like ones, Purnyavanta, they have understood that God is the real purpose of life. It's the ultimate goal of the jiva. Not that they do not have worldly duties and goals to be fulfilled. They do. But they understand that the only goal that's going to solve the problem is Nirguna God, Nirguna Atma, Nirguna Brahman, Satchitananda nature. There are intermediary stations, but once one understood the ultimate goal, the only real solution, that's why it's called freedom, moksha. One does never lose track, lose one's direction. He can go in zigzags, but but this is my ultimate destination. Only then one's journey is complete, says the scriptures. Okay. We meet again this coming Wednesday. Okay. Tomorrow we have no satsang. Namaste. Thank you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate Om Shanti 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 Om. Okay.
Thank you, Orlando.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Ananda. Bye now.
Bye.